Well, the defending someone who's charged with a crime is actually a collaborative effort, and while people think that the attorney does all the work, the accused person actually has a great role to play in defending themselves, and certainly a person who's impoverished, who might have other problems or might not have a very high education level, it might be difficult for them at times to grasp some of the technicalities of the law and the application of the law to their case. And so it can make for challenging discussions, with clients and about their case and the strategy that will be undertaken to defend them.
What kind of challenges? You said challenging discussions, but can you elaborate on that? Like what sort of challenges, like with the language barrier, or just they don't want to help you with the case, or?
Well, sometimes the law, as it's written by the legislature, in this instance the penal law, can be very technical, very sometimes arcane, and there are things in the law that a person might not realize are prohibited. There might be activities, actions that are prohibited, and a layperson might not realize that. And sometimes the initial challenge is to convince the person that yes, this is a serious case. Yes, your conduct violated a law, and you face serious penalties. So, we have to take the case seriously and work towards resolving it in a manner that will do the least harm and damage to you as possible.
So what you're basically saying is a lot of times defendants maybe commit a crime, they don't understand that it's a crime, or they don't understand that it's actually more serious.
Well, if I can give you an example, like for example, a person might be accused of an assault, essentially striking, hitting another person, and the first words out of their mouth will be, "It was self-defense, it was self-defense." And when the attorney hears the word self-defense, he's thinking that, oh, you mean the person struck you or was about to strike you, and you struck them back in response to that. And sometimes the answer will be, no, he was giving me a dirty look, or he said something offensive to me, or he spoke badly about a family member or my girlfriend. And then you have to explain to the client, well, that's not self-defense. Your actions in that circumstance are not justified. Maybe under street law you might have been justified, but under the technical penal law of New York State you weren't justified.
Yeah, I think street law vindicates a lot of people.
Yes.
In the court of street law. So are there any trends you've been seeing recently in terms of arrests? I know there's been a whole initiative on stop and frisk, that it's over, but what are some of the observations you've seen?
Well, speaking anecdotally as a lawyer who practices in Manhattan, despite what we might hear in the news about efforts being made to decriminalize marijuana, or not necessarily decriminalize, but take the focus away from marijuana and arresting people and prosecuting people for small amounts of marijuana, apparently that memo hasn't reached the police department, because every day we see people coming through the system who are charged with simple possession of small amounts of marijuana. And they end up being arrested, being booked, and spending 24 hours or more in custody before they